Conversions between metric and imperial systems. The following table provides the common conversion benchmarks between metric and imperial measurement systems. This is a great chart to refer to throughout this lesson, and when you are doing questions through word problems or even through quizzes and tests. So what you need to know is that the numbers in the metric column we refer to them as our conversion factors. So these are the numbers that we're going to multiply or divide by depending on which direction we are going. So if we're converting from the metric system to the imperial system, we're going to divide by these numbers, divide by the conversion factors. And when we're going from imperial to metric, we want to multiply by the numbers or multiply by the conversion factors. So let's go through some examples looking at using those conversion factors to convert between different units. And it's important for us to know how to go from different units because we still see in Canada a mix of imperial system measurements and metric system measurements. And that's common in a lot of different areas, whether we're looking at height or whether we're looking at weights and so on. It's easy for us to still think of our weight in terms of pounds rather than necessarily in grams or kilograms, and yet we are supposed to be using the metric system. Same thing with height. When you ask someone how tall they are, they'll often say they're 5'8", even though our measurement of our height on our driver's license is given in centimeters. So we still use a juxtaposition between the two conversion systems, and that's why it's important for us to know how to convert between the two. Now, I can appreciate the fact that you can probably just say to your smartphone, "Hey Siri, how do I convert 2.3 kilometers to miles?" And she will give you those calculations instantaneous. However, it's important to know how to do it by hand as well, in those odd moments when you're not going to have technology at your hand. So if we want to convert 2.3 kilometers to miles, I want to go back up to my conversion table and I want to look at that conversion factor that looks at kilometers to miles. So it tells me I have 1.6 kilometers in every mile. So I want to use that measurement. So there's 1.6 kilometers for 1 mile. Okay. So I'm converting from kilometers to miles. So I'm going from the metric system to the imperial system. So using the rules, it tells me that I need to take my 2.3, and because I'm going from metric to imperial, I divide, and I want to divide by the conversion factor of 1.6. You can give your answers to one decimal place. Some people, especially when they're looking at lengths, especially those smaller measurements, when we're looking at inches, for example, you'll often see those represented as fractions rather than decimal numbers, because when you are measuring something with a tape measure, you might say it is 2 feet, 2 feet, 14 inches, and a fifth, or an eighth, sorry. And so those calculations will come into play there. But you know how to convert between decimals and fractions, so that's an important thing to look at. So 2.3 divided by 1.6 gives us approximately 1.4. And this will be approximately 1.4 miles. So 2.3 kilometers is about the same as 1.4 miles. The next thing I want to look at is converting meters to feet. Again, I'm going to refer back up to my table. And I know that 0.3 meters is the same as 1 foot. So I'm going to use that down here. So 0.3 meters is the same as 1 foot. Now again, I'm going from metric to imperial. So I'm going to take my measurement of 15 meters and I'm going to divide by 0.3. And that'll give me 50 feet. So 15 meters is about the same as 50 feet. The next one I want to look at goes from milliliters to fluid ounces. Up here I know that there are 29.5 milliliters in every fluid ounce. So again, because I'm going from metric to imperial, I'm going to divide. So I'm going to take my 22 milliliters, because that's my original amount, and I'm going to divide by 29.5, and that'll give me the amount of fluid ounces that is the equivalent to. So it's approximately 0.7 fluid ounces. So I want to make sure that I keep my units in my final answer. Now I'm going to take a look at converting some imperial systems in units into the metric system. So now I'm going to go from pounds to kilograms. So again, I'm going to refer back up to my chart. 0.45 kilograms is the same as 1 pound. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that conversion to my advantage. So 0.5 kilograms is equal to 1 pound. Now I'm starting at 10 pounds. And because I'm going from the imperial system to the metric system, I'm timesing, and I'm timesing my conversion factor of 0.45. And this will give me 4.5 pounds. And so I can use that LBS as my pounds. My apologies, it is actually kilograms. So 10 pounds is approximately 4.5 kilograms. The next thing I want to look at is converting from inches to centimeters. So I'm going to go up here to my conversion table again. 2.5 centimeters is approximately the same as 1 inch. So 2.5 centimeters is equal to about 1 inch. Now you can refer to inches using IN, or you can use the quotation marks, whichever you prefer. I'm going to accept both on a quiz or a test or even an assignment. So I'm starting with 12 inches. And I'm multiplying because I'm going from imperial to metric system, and I'm multiplying by my 2.5. And multiplying those two numbers together gives me 30. So 12 inches is approximately the same as 30 centimeters. And now we're going to go from 13 gallons to liters. So if I come up here, there are 4 liters in every gallon. So I'm going to use that conversion factor. There are 4 liters in every gallon. So I'm going to go from 13 gallons to liters. So I'm multiplying my 13 by 4. And doing so gives me a value of 52, and my units are liters. So there are approximately 52 liters in 13 gallons. Now I can use these conversion factors in simple calculations like this, or I can use those in terms of some real life examples. So Nathan is painting all the walls in his room. 2 walls measure 4 meters by 2.72 meters. And the other 2 walls measure about 3 meters by 2.72 meters high. So how much paint in square feet will he need? So in order to do that, I need to convert my measurements that are currently in meters into feet. So I have to convert 4 meters into feet, I have to convert 3 meters into feet, and I have to convert 2.72 meters into feet. If I do these calculations now, then I won't have to worry about trying to convert a squared unit into from metric to imperial or vice versa. So it's easier to convert the basic units that look at length and then convert those and then do our area calculations. So if you remember again, back up to my chart. I have some measurements up here. I want to use the one that uses 0.3 meters is equal to 1 foot. So coming back down to this example, I'm just going to jot that right here. So 0.3 meters is the same as 1 foot. So now what I'm going to do is, because I'm going from metric system to imperial system, I'm going to divide each of these values by 0.3. And that's going to give me those same measurements in feet now. So 4 divided by 0.3 gives us approximately 13.3 feet. 3 meters is 10 feet. And 2.72 meters is approximately 9.1 feet. Okay. So now I need to calculate how much paint I'm going to need in square feet. And in order to do that, I need to calculate the area of my walls. So remember, I have two walls that measure 4 meters by 2.72 meters, or 13.3 feet by 9.1 feet. And I have two walls that measure 3 meters by 2.72 meters, or 10 feet by 9.1 feet. So let's call them the two walls that are 4 meters by 2.7 meters A, and let's call the other ones B. So when I calculate the area of wall A, I'm going to multiply my 13.3 by my 9.1. That's going to give me the area of one of those walls. So 13.3 times 9.1 gives us approximately 121.0, and that's going to be feet squared. And I'm going to multiply this by 2 in order to get the two walls. So this is for one wall, and when I multiply this by 2, it gives me 242 feet squared. Now I'm going to calculate the area of wall B, and that's going to be 10 feet by 9.1 feet. So that gives me 91 feet squared. And I have two of those walls, and I'm going to multiply this by 2 to give me 182 feet squared. Now, we're taking a lot of liberties in this question. In reality, you are going to have doors and you are going to have windows, hopefully, in your room. So there is going to be not quite as much as what we have here. You'll also probably have trim along the bottom of your wall, and those things won't be painted those colors. So, and closet walls perhaps as well. So take this question with all of its liberties. So now I know how many square feet of paint I need for walls A and walls B, and so the total amount of paint that I'm going to need will be the addition of those two. So the total paint will be 242 plus 182. And that's going to give me 424 feet squared. So I need enough paint to cover 424 feet squared. Okay, so now I want to take a look at part B. If 1 can of paint covers 300 square feet, how many cans of paint will he need to buy? Well, 1 can of paint covers 300 square feet. So I'm going to need to buy 2 cans of paint, because I can take my 424, I can divide that by 300, and that'll give me 1.41 or 1.4 cans, but I can't go to the store and ask for 0.4 of a can, so I have to round this up to 2 cans. So that means I'll have some extra paint available to use for some other project. So a word problem could use a good therefore statement. Therefore, he will need to buy 2 cans of paint. The next part of the question asks us to calculate the cost. So each can of paint costs $32.20. How much will he spend on paint in order to paint his room? Well, if I need to buy 2 cans of paint, and each can costs $32.20, I'm going to take my $32.20 and multiply that by 2. To give us a total cost of $64.40. And again, we're going to afford some liberties to this question. We're going to assume maybe it's a tax-free event, so we're not going to calculate tax on this. So therefore, it'll cost him $64.40 to paint his room. And those are just some examples to look at converting within the metric and imperial system.